Alright, so let's write a really simple program that creates a vector and prints its value to the output, right? So let's create a vector of ints. Let's call it vec. Let's give it a bunch of random values and let's simply print this to the output, right? And one way to do it is you can use const auto ref and print it out. Let's run this. Hopefully we should see 1, 2, 3, 4. Now before C++17, right, you had to specify the type of your argument in the template, right? Because standard vector is a templated class and it can take in any types here, right? Maybe primitives, maybe user defined, doesn't matter. With C++17 and using class template argument deduction, this is no longer required. So you can simply remove the templated part and the compiler will happily compile and run the code, right? Isn't that cool? So let's try this. There you go, right? Now what's happening here, right? The compiler will cleverly look at the arguments provided in the constructor and automatically deduce the template parameters, right? Now there are some deduction rules that the compiler applies and sometimes it can get confused, right? And when trying to deduce the types, but there is a solution for that and we'll look into that later. Alright guys, now here is the fun part. Class template argument deduction works with a whole bunch of other standard library templated classes like sets, lists, pair, tuple, etc. So let's check that out next. Let's do some renaming here first. Let's say we call this a container and let's call this element. So let's try this on a list first, right? So if I make this a list, it should still work fine. There you go. Let's try it with a set. Hopefully it still works. There you go. Next, let's try it with a pair, right? So for pair, let's say we have two elements in there. Let's give it a string and let's use the cout from here. Let's remove this code and we can do something. Oh, you know what? Let's use structured binding. So let's use auto. Let's call this ID name container, right? And I can then print my ID. Let's add a space in between, print the name. So this should also work with standard pairs. There you go. And let's try tuple as well. So let's add one more element here. Let's say that's his weight. And you'll need one more variable here. Let's print it out. There you go. So unfortunately, I think class template argument deductions is not supported by standard map type containers yet, so just something to be aware of. And but friends, if you're curious about this feature, I made a video about this on my channel. Check it out. It's called class template argument deduction. And as always, if you have any feedback for me, leave it in the comment section. Thank you very much.